Hi everyone, Ben here from Gwinear Angling again, back out on the shore with a trusty old coastslinger combo. And today we've come somewhere a bit different. This is a place called Pentire. We haven't featured this in our Gwinear Guide series before. It's located between Fistral Bay, just on my left, and Crantop Bay on my right. It's a pinnacle, like a headland, big rocky pinnacle that sticks out. There's an island at the end. Very beautiful area. I've come to the inside section of this, just under the Newquay Lodge pub, and this is a nice little area for wrasse fishing, and that's exactly what we're going to do today. We haven't featured this area before because all out here is rock, weed. It's a sort of area that normally you wouldn't dream of casting your rig into, but wrasse live in this kind of ground, and if you want to catch them, this is where you got to go. There's a few tricks to making the fishing as efficient as possible, and that's what I'm going to show you today. We're going to catch a few fish, we're going to have fun. First things first, what is a wrasse? Where does it live, and why would you want to catch it? Well, a wrasse are a family of fish. You find them all over the world, but we have about 6 species in the UK, and the biggest one is called the Ballan Wrasse, and that's what we're targeting today. Ballan Wrasse live in rocky, weedy areas. They're almost our equivalent of what would be like a grouper or something like that, or a parrotfish like you find abroad. They eat crustaceans off the rocks, but they are quite opportunist feeders as well, and that's how we can target them with things like worms and even lures if you want to. They respond to all kinds of different baits. Not so much fish baits, but generally things like mollusks, worms, shellfish, that sort of thing. You find them in, like I said, in rocky areas, lots of kelp. They live in crevices and they come out to feed. You'll often find them in different places at different stages of the tide, depending on whether they're hunting or hiding, and you can take advantage of them in both areas. Like when they're hiding, they'll sometimes have a go at something out of aggression because it comes near their territory, and when they're feeding, obviously you can target them because you can appeal to that feeding instinct. The reason why you want to catch them, they're not a fish that many people like to eat. I certainly wouldn't suggest eating them. But they're very sporting. They give a really good fight, especially when you first hook them and they dive for the bottom. Like, that is quite an adrenaline rush. They've really got a good first run in them, and if you don't stop that run, they'll have you in some sort of crevice or bolt hole, and you'll lose your gear and you're certainly your fish anyway. So that makes it exciting. They come in all sorts of different colours, depending on what sort of substrate they're living on. In this particular spot I'm fishing, it's over kelp, so they tend to be brown. Sometimes you'll get one though that's red and blue, like a big male that's red and blue, very beautiful fish. And my favourite is the emerald green ones. They're absolutely beautiful. I love an emerald green wrasse. So it's more for the sport, and it's easy to get bites. That's one of the best things about them. They're very obliging fish. As long as you target them at the right time, and around Newquay, that's almost always around high water. So if you focus your sessions around high water, you'll almost certainly have a good chance of a wrasse. They're very obliging. If you drop a bit of ragworm down there, they will almost certainly have a go at it, and you're almost certainly going to catch something. So that's one of the beauties of wrasse fishing. It was one of the first sizable sea species that I ever caught. I'm sure it's the same for a lot of other people too. That's the joy of them. They're accessible to all people, all levels, all ages. Okay, so how do we go about tackling up for wrasse fishing using the old faithful coastslinger combo? That's what I'm going to show you now. I'm going to keep it as simple as possible. Just going to use a 3-way swivel to make this rig. So we're going to keep the components to a minimum, because when you're fishing over this kind of ground, you're almost certainly going to lose a few bits of gear, get snagged up and have to snap off. So you don't want to lose too many expensive items of tackle. So the first thing to do is cut off a couple of pieces of line. I'm just going to take line off the reel that comes with the coastslinger, this red stuff. I don't know what it's called, but it's of a thickness that's probably fine for this. I've had no problems with it so far. So we're just going to take off a piece about 2 or 3 foot here, and this is going to be the lead link portion of the rig. The idea with this rig is that you have your lead on a longer piece of line than your hook length. So the lead is in contact with the bottom, and the hook is somewhere up off the bottom to minimise the chances of you snagging something. And if your hook gets snagged in this kind of fishing, it's not a good thing. The hook generally is a much worse thing to get snagged than the lead. The lead gets snagged, you can snap it off, lose it, and you still retain the nuts and bolts of the rig. But if your hook gets snagged, you're almost certainly going to lose the whole lot. So we'll sacrifice a lead to keep the hook. So the first thing I'm going to do is just, this is just a 3-way swivel, some Cox and Raw ones that we sell in the shop. You can use any 3-way swivel you like. So you'll notice the 3-way swivel is in the shape of a T. So to one of the arms of the T, we tie this lead link using my favourite uni knot. So we go through the eye, make a loop, go through the loop 4 times. If you've seen the other videos, you've seen this. Give it a lick, moisten, pull it down. Snip off the tag, put it aside, throw away later. So there we go, that's the hook length. Now, one of the beauties of wrasse fishing is it gives you a chance to use all your old knackered leads that you might have used for feathering and beating them up a bit on the rocks, and you know, all the rings are rusty and they look like not very appealing. You wouldn't want to use them on your more fancy bottom fishing expeditions. So this gives you a use for all those old bits of lead that you don't mind losing. So I've got a 2-ounce bomb here. I've also got a 3-ounce as well. With the conditions at the moment, 2-ounce has been fine. There's not too much swirl and surf and tide to dislodge my lead from where I put it. So the 2-ounce has been fine. If there's more surf or a little bit more tide or more wind acting on your line sometimes, then the 3-ounce is a better choice. But today, 2-ounce has been sufficient. So all I'm going to do is tie that straight onto the ring, the ring of the lead, using the uni knot. We don't normally do this in other styles of bottom fishing. We use a lead link so the line doesn't get damaged by the eye of the lead, but in this kind of fishing, it ain't important. It's very rough and ready. So with this, what I'm going to do is put a couple of just granny knots in it, just overhand granny knots. What this does is this marginally weakens this part of the rig. So when this gets snagged up, this is the bit we want to go. So this section is weaker than the main line. So if you pull on the main line, hopefully this is the bit that's going to snap. So the next thing to do is I will take off another piece of line, probably about 1 foot, 16 inches, and this is going to be my hook length. Now, you can just knot this straight onto the 3-way swivel if you want. Perfectly fine, there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever, just use your uni knot. But what I like to do is just a little something to help presentation, is to loop it on. So what I do is I make a loop in the end of this hook length. Real simple, all I'm going to do is form that loop and then just go do a double overhand knot. A lot of people with figure of 8 loop this in, but I think when you're a beginner, this is a much easier knot to get your head around, and it's not going to hurt you. You're not going to snap this off unnecessarily. So what I've formed here is a loop in the end of the hook length, just a double overhand knot, made a loop. And what I'm going to do is, if I can find the rest of my rig, is where you've got the T, the bottom arm of the T, that's the hook length side. So what I do is put this loop through the eye of that arm of the swivel, tag end goes back through, and I've looped to loop that on. And what this does, you can see, helps it stand off. So hopefully your bait ain't getting too tangled with either your lead link line or your main line. So it aids presentation, and that's never a bad thing in fishing. So for my hooks for wrasse fishing, I like something like a chinu. It's a small pattern, but it's very, very strong. Wrasse have got big teeth, strong jaws. You don't want to use anything too light, especially because when they do that first run, they can really test your hooks. So I've just got a Varivas or Sakuma chinu here, any one that we sell in the shop. Size 2.0, 1.0, something like that is about ideal for your wrasse. So take one of those, tie it on with the good old uni knot. Three, four. There we go. Snip that tag end off. And all that's left to do now is attach this arm of the T to our main line. Nice and easy. Once you get practiced at making this rig, you'll knock them up in no time at all. Again, uni knot. Trim off the tag. So, the thinking behind this is your lead sits on the bottom, somewhere around here. Your hook's suspended somewhere off the bottom, hopefully. Nice little bit of juicy ragworm or something like that on there. Mr. Wrasse is not going to be able to help himself. So, that's when we get a bite and get a fish. So I've just got some rag from the shop. It was delivered on Friday, today is Tuesday, so it's looking rather sad now. But for wrasse fishing, that doesn't matter one bit. This ragworm has definitely seen better days, but the wrasse ain't going to mind 1 ounce. So all I do is thread on maybe half that worm, nip off the tail, which is no good on that worm, and other worms that are fresher, you might have a tail that you can keep and use that as a second bait. And make sure to just push that bit of ragworm over the eye of your knot. And that is a lovely little package, little bait package for a wrasse. Guaranteed bite. Okay, so here we go. First cast. Half a ragworm on the hook. And save the tail section for another bait. Just thread that on. Pop it over the knot so the wrasse can't pick it off. And out we go. Now, just going to use a gentle underhand swing. Just a few rod lengths out, it should be fine. That's hit the bottom. Line on the finger, make sure to stay reasonably tight to it, and feel for those bites. Oh, there's one. Knock, knock. Rattle, rattle. I think he's got it. Yeah, yes. Yes. Our first wrasse of the morning. There we go. Lovely little wrasse on the coastlinger combo. Little female, this one. Get the hook out and pop them back. Oh, nearly. They're very, they do not like being handled, wrasse. So you always want a pretty firm grip on them to stop them damaging themselves. But, get the hook out, chuck her back. There we go. Bye bye, sweetheart. Find a nice deep bit. Throw her in head first. And off she goes. Happy days. Let's get another one. So that last fish has obliterated the bait. Sometimes you get lucky and they don't nail it all. You can get away with reusing it or breaking a piece off and reusing it. That tail's not very good. Another new head section of ragworm. Let the tail off. That's a nice bait. So again, gentle swing. There's a big patch of really disturbed water here, like a cauldron, and I'm just fishing right on the edge of it. I can't really see what's down there, so I don't know what the depth is, but it feels pretty substantially deep out there, and it's shallow at my feet, so I don't want to be too close in, otherwise I'll be fishing over the back of rock. It's not good for your line. Oh, another bite. Just watch the tip, feel on the finger. Got one. Oh, unlucky. He's had a free meal at my expense. No, he won't be so lucky the second time. Just keep an eye on that sea because it's quite splashy. Right, same place. Just feel the weight down. Let it settle. Bite straight away. Yep. That first dive is really something else, even a small one. They really just go for their bolt hole and oh, that's a slightly better one. There we go. That's a bit better one. Sea lice all over him. Perfectly hooked in the lower lip. There we go. Nice little wrasse. Probably a pound and a half or something like that. No, nothing major. But you can tell from the coloration what it's been living in. Bit of kelp, classic kelpy wrasse. Colour scheme blending nicely into that orangey brown background. Lovely fish. Let's get it back. All right. We've had a couple of small ones. Hopefully the daddy wrasse is at home. One thing about Ballan Wrasse is they're all born as females, and then at some point one of them changes sex to become the dominant male. And he's a pretty lucky man because he'll have a whole harem of females under him. And unfortunately, nature being what it is, if anything happens to poor old top dog wrasse, then one of the other wrasse will change sex and become the new alpha. Very interesting life history, the wrasse. They're quite a long-lived fish as well. Those really big wrasse you catch are probably 20, 25 years old. My mate Lawrence, he's caught the same one twice, nearly 10 years apart. So it was at much the same weight as well, so that tells you a bit about them. Another bite. That's just a little nibble. I think he's got it. He has. No. Sometimes that happens, you get a good bite and you're reeling it solid and then you just get a bit of kelp back. You've been done. Got it. Having a good nod down there. Might be a slightly better fish. Oh, he is. That's a bit more like it. There you go. I thought he might be a little bit bigger, but looking at it, it's probably a similar size to the one I just had. Maybe getting on for £2. Again, the same coloration, obviously living over the same sort of bottom. So he's got it. Yeah. A little run there. Yeah. Another nice little wrasse. No size, but good scrap, good fun. There we go. Time to call it a day, I think. Very addictive. I could do this all day, but I gotta go back to work. So I hope you've enjoyed this Gwinear guide to wrasse fishing and it helps you get among a few of them rock pigs yourself. They're great fun, great sporting fish, lots to enjoy here. If you've enjoyed the video, please give it a like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out. We really appreciate your support. If you've got any questions, anything you'd like to ask, anything you want to know, either ask it in the comments below and I'll get to it as soon as I can, or even better, come and see us in the shop because we're friendly faces. We'll always do what we can to put you on some fish and help you out with whatever you need. Cheers, I'll see you in the next video.